I guess this is not really a rant. This is Belichick just being Belichick. This is
but it's peak Belichick.
It's peak Belichick. October 5th, 2014, Monday Night Football. The Kansas City Chiefs just absolutely blast New England, and Tom Brady got taken out of the game. It was just useless to have him still in the game. That was when we first cup of Garoppolo, I think we got.
Oh, that's a good fantasy.
First cup of Garoppolo, right?
First cup of Garoppolo.
And then let's hear the back and forth between Bill Belichick and a very intrepid reporter for, I believe, NFL Network at the time. Go for it.
How difficult is it to react to the adversity of Monday night, to get back on track so quickly? Because from a condition standpoint, this team, this organization hasn't had these sort of issues in the past.
Yeah, well, we're on to Cincinnati.
Bill, do you think, you mentioned Tom's age at the draft.
We're on to Cincinnati.
Do you think having a 37-year-old...
We're on to Cincinnati. It's nothing about the past, nothing about the future. Right now, we're preparing for Cincinnati.
Okay, do you feel like the talent you have here is good enough?
We're getting ready for Cincinnati.
What is your response, Bill?
Well, I'm just asking, do you think you've done enough to help Tom Brady?
We're getting ready for Cincinnati. That's what we're doing.
So as you get ready for Cincinnati, does Tom Brady have the talent and protection around him to be on to Cincinnati and handle that?
We're going to game plan and do the best we can to be ready to go Sunday night. Same as we always do. Nothing's changed.
Without the sheer determination of Albert Breer to ask multiple follow-up questions, we would have only had one to moving on to Cincinnati, and then we wouldn't have...
We'd have been done.
That's it. Albert Breer from Sports Illustrated joining me here on the Rich Eisen Show. How are you, Albert?
I wish you could see the smile on my face. God, wow, that's unbelievable. I hadn't heard that in a while, so it's good to hear that again.
Albert, I think I counted 4 follow-ups.
Yeah. You know what? It was interesting because that was sort of, I just sort of at that point taken the approach, and there was a point when I had a great relationship with Belichick, for a lot of years early in my career, and there were a couple things, when I was at the Boston Globe where it went off the rails, and I sort of made the decision, like if I'm not going to be, able to ask these questions in private anymore, I got to go out and ask them in public now, and so. It was sort of one of those where there were a few confrontations between me and Bill, and that was the one that actually, I guess, got everybody's attention. But that was the storyline in Boston that week, was Brady's getting older. Belichick actually, if you want to go back and look at his press conference, volunteered that part of the reason they drafted Jimmy Garoppolo that spring was because of Brady's age and contract situation. And they hadn't played very well. I mean, it wasn't just the Kansas City game. If you go back and look at it, and I got the schedule up here, they lost to the Miami Dolphins in the opener. They blew out the Vikings in week 2, but that was coming right off of the Adrian Peterson thing. So the Vikings were really on the ropes. And then they struggled against a bad Raiders team in week 3 before getting blown out by Kansas City. And so, that team wound up winning the Super Bowl. But after a month, it was the question everyone in Boston was asking was, are they acting with enough urgency in putting this team together? Is there a good enough team there to get Brady another championship? It's been 10 years since he'd won one. And then, of course, just my luck, the Patriots, I don't believe, lost again until after Thanksgiving and then wound up winning the Super Bowl. So yeah, definitely took on a different context in the long term.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, Chris Brockman, I'm putting 2 and 2 together. I believe this show was 1 day old. We came on the air on the 4th of October of 2014, right. And then we saw that night, and this is all we talked about on our first full day talking about it in a Monday Night Football game, Albert.
Yeah, that is 100% correct.
I think we're just putting it all together right now.
100%
if I'm not mistaken, they pulled Brady with like 10 minutes left.
They did. It was, you know why? Albert, I remember this like it was yesterday because I think I had Edelman in a fantasy league, and all I needed was him to just get 10 more yards, and I would be able to win my game, and Garoppolo couldn't do anything, and it was just a total disaster. It was an absolute, total, complete meltdown by New England that we had not seen in forever. So these were all questions. What was it like, though? Did you realize you were in the middle of what would be, no doubt, something discussed over and over again when he did the whole on to Cincinnati thing?
I knew it would be discussed locally because my confrontations I had a few of these with him.
Right.
And look, I've got all the respect in the world for him. I'm doing my job, he's doing his.
Sure.
You know, and I think
right.
That's part of it. You know, but I there were certain times when I felt like certain questions had to be asked. This was one of them, and I so I knew, like, locally, when he answers a question that way, that this was going to get like a sports radio reaction, you know, in Boston. So I knew that. I don't know if I really had an idea of the scope of what those three words would mean. And I got to give credit here too. It wasn't just me. Michelle Steele from ESPN was there too, and it was. I vividly remember this. It was me asking one, Michelle asking another, me asking one, Michelle asking another. So it was sort of back and forth with the two of us. And, and I'd become pretty familiar with this part of it too. There's always, like, after I would be done with one of those lines of questioning, sort of this awkward 5 seconds of silence afterwards, like, who's going to ask the next question. So I do remember that part of it too.
Well, if I'm also not mistaken, Albert, you were the one holding the microphone when Steve Smith told Aqib Talib to ice up, son, which is not really a rant, but it's definitely something. Albert, correct?
Yeah. I don't know what would be number one or number two for my time at NFL Network. I have other ones, too. I'll give you guys another funny one in a second, but that one, I'm sure you've had this experience before. Do you know, like, when there's that moment when it's just like, I just got to put the mic in front of this guy and get the hell out of the way?
Sure, that's one of them.
Yeah, that was for me, definitely. But here's another good one for you.
Okay.
So you guys of course know the Bart Scott rant with Sal Pal, right?
Of course, yeah. You can't wait.
Oh, okay, the can't wait rant, right? So I was brand new at NFL Network at that point, and part of my job at the time, big part of my job at the time, this was before the lockout, was doing the on-field interviews after games, and so I covered the Jets Patriots that playoff game, and like literally like the Jets, of course, beating the Patriots in a playoff game. I mean, it was like, for that team, like it felt like they'd won the Super Bowl, and so I was down in the field. And I go out to midfield, and they tell me, okay, we're going to get you Braylon Edwards. Braylon Edwards literally did a backflip into my shot, right? And then pointed at the camera and just started yelling at the Patriots into the camera. I'm telling you, Rich, I was so excited. I was like, oh, my God, I've got gold. And, of course, Bart Scott is like 10 feet away giving Sal Pal the line of the year. Totally upstaged me. It was a heartbreaking
Can't wait.
I love it. Albert, thanks for the recollections. You take care of yourself.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah, that's Albert Breer of Sports Illustrated, writing the MMQB. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.